So the studies show that about 80% of people that try to lose weight fail along the journey. So today we're going to talk about why you're not losing fat. There's a couple really obvious things that people make mistakes with all of the time that we're going to break down first. So first and foremost, the biggest thing I see people do all the time is underestimating calories. You just don't know what you don't know. If you're putting oils, if you're putting fats, butters in your meals, you have no idea how many calories those are probably adding. Your condiments, be careful. A lot of your condiments will say that they're 0 calories or 10 calories, but they're talking about 1/4 of a teaspoon. You're adding hundreds of calories through your day through your condiments. And liquid calories. Liquid calories are where people really shoot themselves in the foot. Just because it's a liquid, just because it doesn't feel like you're consuming a lot of calories, it's actually one of the most calorie dense things you'll be putting in your body. One of the studies we saw showed that 50% of people underestimate their daily calorie intake, which means that you very well could be. Another one of the big things we see people doing is kind of similar is they're under-eating protein. If you're under-eating protein, there's gonna be 2 big problems here. So one, if you're not eating enough protein, your body's gonna be burning muscle, not just fat. And every bit of muscle you lose slows down your metabolism significantly. And secondarily, protein is thermogenic. It's the only macronutrient you can eat that'll actually burn calories in the process of eating it, which is pretty cool. It's the only one that's gonna do that. So make sure you have your protein up high enough and you'll definitely put yourself in a better place. Cardio versus lifting. This is something we see time and time again. There's people killing themselves on the treadmill 40 minutes a day, an hour a day, and they're just not losing weight. The truth of the matter is that your body is going to plateau from cardio if you overdo it really, really quickly, because cardio is going to have a tendency to burn off a little bit more muscle tissue because you're not growing any tissue back from that session itself. And over time, as that muscle gets lower and lower, and as you adapt to the cardio so it gets easier and easier, you're gonna burn less and less calories from the session. But if you incorporated lifting and strength training, you could increase your muscle mass, increase your metabolism, and increase the effectiveness of everything you're doing. So much so that you actually could be burning fat even when you're sleeping. When you lift weights, you will continue to burn calories for upwards of 24 to 48 hours after your session. So incorporate more lifting, pull your cardio down, and focus on step count. But there's some bigger things here. The advanced mistakes that, like I said, I really want to break down that people should know a little bit more about is metabolic adaptation. Metabolic adaptation is something that most people aren't worried enough about, but this is where tracking everything and getting really down to the nitty-gritty is so important. Because when you're dieting, your BMR is going to drop. That's your basal metabolic rate. So as you get leaner, as you lose fat, you're gonna burn less calories naturally. And that's because having that extra 50 pounds of fat on you was raising your BMR, making you burn more calories every single day. You might have lost some muscle along the way because you're doing too much cardio or because you're under eating protein, and your BMR is gonna drop significantly. So making sure we set a situation up so that we reduce calories or increase the efficiency of what we're doing through our body to keep our BMR as high as possible is extremely necessary. Body efficiency is another really big metabolic adaptation. If you are doing the same kind of cardio every day, the same lifting every day, you can assume you're gonna get good at it. The first day you go for a run, you might be dying, it might be impossible, but on the 100th day you go for a run, it's a lot easier. And it's not just easier for you mentally or on the outside, it's easier for you on the inside. If it's easier, it's going to burn less calories. So if you're not calculating for your body's efficiency getting better, especially as you get leaner, which will really make things easier, then you're gonna struggle a lot. And one of the big ones I see people is the leptin drop. As you are dieting, leptin is going to drop more and more the longer you're in a dieting phase. This is why I do think people tend to diet for way too long. And when your leptin drops, leptin is what makes you feel full. So if your leptin is dropping and dropping and lower, you're gonna find you're hungrier and hungrier. It's almost impossible to fill that insatiable desire for food. And it's just gonna be downright difficult for you. So taking little diet breaks, things like that can really be helpful for knocking that leptin back up, putting it where it needs to be, and really getting the ghrelin back down so you're not super hungry all the time. And then stress, sleep, and hormones, I don't think get talked about enough. If your stress is super high, whether that's the stress of you losing weight or the stress of your job or your lifestyle or your relationships or any of these things people allow to come in their life and stress them out, it's gonna increase cortisol. And cortisol has been proven to make it harder to burn fat, and it can actually increase how much fat we put on when we do have excess calories. So certain moments in your day, you might have a little bit of an excessive calorie intake, maybe even though you ate less earlier, but those excessive calorie intake moments with high cortisol are gonna make you gain fat quicker. Sleep is so crucial. The studies show that getting an extra hour of sleep can sometimes burn more fat than waking up and going and doing cardio. So if you're not sleeping enough, you're not going to be burning fat properly. We release so much growth hormone when we're sleeping, and only in certain segments of the sleep cycle. So if you're cutting that sleep cycle short, or you're not getting quality sleep, your body's not going to produce the growth hormone it really needs to efficiently burn fat, and you're going to be just losing out on the easiest and also most effective recovery and fat loss part of your day. And then hormones. Hormones are where I really want to hit on the nail on the head. People mess this up all the time, especially women, because your hormones are going to be built from what you eat. If you're not consuming cholesterol, if you're not consuming fats, you're going to lose the ability to even produce these hormones. And as your hormones shut down and get lower and lower, you're going to have less energy. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to be less efficient in the gym. You're going to burn more muscle than you meant to. And it's really going to mess up everything we've talked about. So making sure, male or female, having enough fat intake, having enough cholesterol intake to keep your hormones up, and making sure that you're getting lab work done. You might actually have a massive deficiency somewhere, nutrient-wise, hormone-wise, that's going to set you back. It's going to make it impossible for you to really get the most and squeeze the sponge out of this fat loss process. So there's so much here, I know, but let's talk about some real ass solutions. So the biggest solutions that I get on everyone about is just track everything. If you want to be good at fat loss, just like you'd want to be good at anything else, track everything. You should know every player on the field. You should know everything you're doing all the time. You should know exactly how many calories you're eating. You should know exactly what macros you're eating. You should know exactly that you're hitting the perfect amount of protein every single day. Make sure you're getting somewhere between 0.7 grams to 1.3 grams, even on the high end, per pound of lean body mass every single day. Make sure you're tracking your cardio. Make sure you're tracking your steps. Make sure if there's a factor at play, you know what it is. Because then you can make sure that not only are you doing the same amount every day, if it's working, so it continues to work, you can make sure you have everything tracked, so you can move things up when you need to keep everything efficient and make sure your BMR isn't dropping. And those are huge key players. Track everything. Focus on muscle. I can't tell you how many people that think fat loss is a cardio mechanism. They think that they just need to starve themselves or beat themselves down with cardio to get leaner. But the truth is, if you focus on building muscle more than anything during your fat loss phase, not only will the end result be something you like, because we don't want to lose all our muscle and all our fat and just be skinny. We want to have shape. We want to look good. So focusing on muscle will help that. But secondarily, maintaining your muscle mass will be the #1 things that keeps your BMR really high while you're losing weight, which will make it really easy to keep losing weight. And then the last two big ones are diet breaks. Diet breaks are huge. If you have been in a dieting phase for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, and you really are not feeling like the progress is moving like it used to, it's probably time to take a week off. And that's because when you take that week off and you allow those extra calories, I'm not talking about a cheat week, I'm talking about just incorporating back in some more fat, some more calories for a little bit of time. What will happen is you'll get that leptin to come back up. What you'll get is that ghrelin to drop. You'll fill yourself up with all the stuff you need to make those hormones and rebalance out your body to a good equilibrium, so that when you get back into dieting, it's going to be super efficient. And lastly, getting lab work done. If you do not know what your labs look like, you are just going in blind. It's just the truth of the matter. Lab work is cheap and effective. We can always help you get it here. But the truth of the matter is that if you don't know the roadmap to where you're unhealthy, you're never going to fix them. And if you're truly unhealthy somewhere in your body, don't expect to lose weight the right way. Being healthy and focusing on muscle are two of the biggest factors for your body being efficient when it comes to burning fat. So track everything, focus on muscle, make sure you take breaks when you need it, and make sure that you know that you're healthy so everything can be efficient. And that fat's gonna fall right off you, I promise you.